Good evening. I'm Armando Cuellar Jr., President of the Weslaco ISD Board of Trustees. This special board meeting is being conducted pursuant to Governor Greg Abbott's suspension of certain open meeting law requirements to the extent necessary to allow for telephonic and video conference meetings in response to COVID-19. This notice of this meeting has been posted online for at least 32 hours. The board is meeting by the use of Google Meets and telephone transmission, which allows two-way communication for members of the public during public comments. A recording of this meeting is being made and will be available to the public at a later date. The time now is 5:46, and I call this meeting to order. I now begin the roll call. I'll call these board members' names. Signify your presence by being here or present. Jackie Susteta.
Here.
Mr. Nieto. Jose Trevino. Here. Dr. Jaime Rodriguez. Here. Mr. Mark de los Santos. Here. Mr. Andrew Gonzalez. Let the record reflect that a quorum of board members are in attendance. Item 3, public comments. Item 4, close the meeting to conduct level 3 grievances requested by F. Cabrera pursuant to Westico ISD policy FNG local. Dr. Canales.
Hold on.
Good evening, trustees. We do have our level 3 grievance requested by Mr. Cabrera pursuant to FNG local. So we'll need to move into closed session for this grievance. Right, so we need to.
But it's a closed meeting, so the only people here are going to be. Pardon? Yeah, we need to step out.
Yeah, we would need to.
Only the people that I mentioned and for an attorney can be present.
Yes, in addition, administration that. we're
Well,
going to-
yes, our administration, those that are part of the grievance process. The time now is 8:34 p.m. and the board has reconvened in open session. With regard to the level 3 grievances requested by Fernando and Isabel Cabrera, does any board member have a motion?
After lengthy discussion, I'll make a motion to table and continue this grievance until further information is provided.
A second. Okay, we have a motion by Dr. Jaime Rodriguez and a second by Mr. Dos Santos.
Yes, sir.
Table until further information is provided. And Dr. Canales, you will follow up with the items discussed.
Coach, is there a motion, please, before to see if they accept the motion?
Okay.
Can we vote on as a discussion?
Okay, we'll vote on it and then
you-
I'll
Yes,
give the
yes, sir.
directive.
Thank
Thank you. Thank corrected. Okay, we have the motion in a second. Let's take it to a vote. Mr. Staita?
Aye.
Mr. Trevino?
Aye.
Dr. Jaime Rodriguez?
Aye.
Mr. Mark de los Santos?
Aye.
Motion carries. Now,
Okay, now.
Dr. Canales, you will follow up with the information that we requested in executive session.
Yes. And can we have the parents stand by, please? Can you all stand by, please? So Dr. Canales can talk to you, or do you want to talk to him tomorrow, Doc?
We want to make sure that. If we can exchange numbers. Oh, okay. So, Dr. Cabral, can you facilitate that? Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's fine, Doc.
Okay?
Okay. That's fine.
That's it. Okay, Mr. Cabrera, Ms. Cabrera, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Ready for the second one? Let's start the second one. Next one's on Zoom, okay? So, ready?
Yes, sir. Have a good evening.
Good evening.
We now, are going to go into a, do we pursue this thing?
Well,
Let's go to item 6. We
yes.
already reconvened. That was item 5. And now we go to item 6. Those meeting to conduct level 3 grievance by Mr. R. Aldape. Are we in order? Well, let's get Mr. Sepulveda ready. Are we ready to go? Carlos?
Okay, so ready to start so I can shut this one down and then we'll go to
Now-
executive.
We are now going to item 6. In a closed meeting to conduct level 3 grievances requested by R. Aldape pursuant to Westico ISD policy DGBA local. The time now is 9:38 p.m. and the board has reconvened in open session. With regard to the level 3 grievance requested by Ramiro Aldape, does any board member have a motion?
I'll make a motion to deny level 3.
Okay, we have a motion
Second.
by Dr. Rodriguez to deny, and a second by Mr. De Los Santos.
Yes,
Okay. Let's take it to a vote. Signify your approval, saying aye, if I call your name. Mrs. Ustaita,
Aye.
Dr. Rodriguez,
Aye.
Mr. De Los Santos,
aye.
motion carries. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. We'll see you.
Okay. We're now, item 8, closed meeting to conduct a level 3 grievance requested by B. Rodriguez pursuant to Weslaco ISD policy DGBA local. Dr. Canal.
This is a level 3.
The time now is 10:58 p.m. and the board has reconvened in open session. With regard to level 3 grievance requested by Bobby J. Rodriguez, does any board member have a motion?
Yes, a motion to deny.
We have a motion to deny by Mr. De Los Santos
I'll second.
and a second. Dr. Rodriguez. Let's take it to a vote. Are you approval with saying ask when I call your name? So Jackie Sustaita,
Aye.
Jesse Trevino,
Aye.
Dr. Jaime Rodriguez,
Aye.
and Mr. Mark De Los Santos.
Aye.
Motion carries. Continue with the items in open session now. Item 10, discussion and possible action to approve the purchase and installation of UV purifiers sterilization systems to be installed in 61 school buses. Dr. Canales?
I move to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion
That's
to
good.
approve by Dr. Rodriguez and a second by Mrs. Susaita. Is there any discussion?
No.
If none,
I do.
okay.
I just had a quick question though. And I just wanted to ask Mr. Garza. On the UV system, I know that part of this is because of availability. And I just had a question on the UV system because there's a UV and then there's those that have ultraviolet and a HEPA filtration system. Both. This one's just going to be the UV light. correct? So is it gonna be something that's retrofitted in the buses, or is it like a standalone unit that's mounted in there?
It's, and I wanna,
Okay. All right. Okay, thank you.
Any further questions? Okay, let's take it to a vote. Signify you approve, let's say you're not going to call your name.
This one's
Mr.
just.
Weslaco?
Correct.
Trujillo?
Aye.
Dr. Jaime Rodriguez?
Aye.
And Mr. Los
Is
Santos?
it gonna be something that's retrofitted in the buses, or is it like a standalone unit that's mounted in there?
it's, and that's what
Okay.
What's going on? Any further questions? Okay, let's take it to a vote. Let's say you're not going to call your name.
This one's just.
Correct. Trujillo?
Aye.
Dr. Jaime Rodriguez?
Okay.
Mr. Garcia's receiving it delayed because it's streamed.
Okay.
Who's Mr. Martinez? Okay. This one.
Item 11, discussion and possible action for the board to approve the revisions to the Westico ISD fiscal year 2020-2021 compensation plan to reflect additional positions to be funded under ESSER 2, CRRSA, and ESSER 3, ARP federal programs. Dr. Canales.
Board of Trustees, we know this is August already, but we're asking for revisions to the current, and that is compensation plan to reflect the following positions as has been presented during our ESSER presentations, and our application has been granted.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Los Santos to approve and a second by Dr. Rodriguez. Westico ISD fiscal year 2021 compensation plan to reflect additional positions to be funded under ESSER 2, CRRSA, and ESSER 3, ARP federal programs. Do we have any discussion?
Just a question. Is this the innovative learning, those positions? Okay.
I have a concern under the job descriptions. For instance, job title, Advanced Academics Coach. Is that, I notice here master's degree preferred. Why, and a valid to Texas teacher certificate. Why not make that master's degree required?
That's it. Before we post, Coach, I will be doing the final review. The job descriptions are created by the hiring managers. And there was a team that worked on that, so I can follow up on that one, Coach.
Okay, because some of the requirements down there,
It's the advanced, which one?
the,
Advanced.
well, that's the advanced academics coach.
Okay.
There's some of the experience that they're requesting, you know, it's, and then licensed professional counselor. And I know we approved it fairly quickly, but it almost seems like some of these positions overlap or they're very similar to each other. You know, we have innovative learning support specialist. Then we have accelerated learning aids. I mean, I know what, then we have accelerated migrant learning aids. Nursing medical assistants, is that for, so they can assist with testing, COVID testing and stuff?
And any issues, like health-related issues that come up as we continue with the pandemic.
I think here more than anything, we're gonna need more counseling than anything else. You know, are these nursing, maybe can we tie the nursing in with counseling?
No, this went through the process of the needs assessment and the information that we secured through the process of applying for the ESSER grant. So Ms. Sid requested the six?
Six
Six
social
social
emotional,
workers,
yeah.
and shared with us that she felt that with along with our counselors right now, that we could handle the social emotional support. Mrs. Kaufman and the nurses met and provided feedback to Mr. Garlick about the need for more medical
Yeah, the medical assistants are basically between a CNA and a
And an R.
LVN, just to strengthen the nurses stations for this coming year, which we expect to be lots of questions and concerns as we go try to get kids back into school.
Are they going to be assigned to particular campuses?
Yeah, that's why there's 20 of them. So you can give one to every campus, so we can make sure every campus nursing station has an extra person, because there's going to be parent calls and follow-ups, and we do anticipate it being busy. She's reached out to some of the schools already to try to get involved with them as they're having graduating classes to help with the recruitment.
Okay. Okay, thank you, sir.
No,
What about, or just, I guess, Doctor, who's going to be going back through this? Like, here's another one. Director of Innovative Learning Support. Any person that has that title for director, would look good having masters behind it. I mean, I know we have.
The innovative learning support specialist, that is I'm not gonna say a hybrid, it's the
That's the
imagination of supporting the House Bill 4545 and accelerated learning plans that is that's the replacement for ACE, correct, Mr. Garland?
that's all of the innovative learning support people. There's 12 of them. That was the former ACE people. What we're doing is we're going to expand their franchise, if you will. So they're going to work with all of our after-school tutoring type programs in support of the House bill, as well as the learning acceleration and learning loss. So it's going to expand what they do. And so the original ACE coordinator is basically going to be the director through that. And then the campus coordinators, they're now innovative learning support specialists. That's the person at the campuses. And there were 10 of those.
So with the House Bill 4545, so those individuals will be spread out across all of our campuses, because most of our campuses will have after school.
Yeah,
or Saturday
there's the
camps.
10 that are at the elementaries, but the director is also going to manage the middle school and the other tutoring, especially the after hours tutoring and any Saturday school tutoring.
Compliance records and things like that.
It's the actual tutoring being funded. It's going to be partially funded from ESSER, but it's also going to use some of our state comp funds. They'll be helping with the program design and helping to manage that as well. So it's kind of, it's an expansion on what they did before.
I have a problem. Okay, no, I mean, I just have a problem with the valid Texas teaching certificate preferred. But I mean, I know what we're not catering to, but what we're molding it to, or you just answer my question for that. It's to pick up the ACE people, the ACE staff.
But I'm looking at the skills that we're asking in the experience, and it says experience having after school, summer school programs, teaching experience. I mean, wouldn't we want somebody with a teaching certificate who's going to be working with kids in an academic environment to help them?
They're going to be more of managing the recruiting teachers to do the actual program is what they're doing in their job description. You're talking about the learning support specialist at the campus
Innovative
level.
learning support.
Yeah, they're not
specialists.
actually the delivery of instruction to students. That's still going to be teachers doing that. So there's all of the ACE people we had before did not have a teaching certificate. It was about 60%. And so they're still going to be doing very similar to what they did before, but we've expanded their duties to also include other extended day programs, also assisting with extended day at the middle school level, and some of the tutoring plans, working with C&I going up to the high school.
So, sorry.
Go ahead.
So while they're not certified, they're going to be providing guidance to certified teachers.
It's more on the administrative side. Like they're going to be recruiting the teachers. What our facilitators would do on campuses, they're going to go and recruit teachers to do the actual tutoring. They're going to manage the admin as far as class counts, the payroll, all of that stuff at the campus levels. Very similar to what they did under ACE, but we're going to expand their purview to include other tutoring after school and also Saturday school. So for example, when we discussed their work hours, later on when we get to Saturday school time, they might have a day where they only come in a half day because they're going to actually run the program on the Saturdays also, when we get to that stage of tutoring.
So then wouldn't we just want our facilitators to run it instead of spending 50,000 on one of these people? If our facilitators can do it?
The facilitators could do it. We're just trying to take some of the weight off of the facilitators because depending on the campus, for example, some of the smaller campuses, they only have one facilitator. And so that's, they're
But what if
already,
we pay the facilitator more instead then? I mean, I
That's-
don't know. It's just a lot of money for not having somebody who's certified. I'd rather give that money to a facilitator who does want to do it and put some extra time in and is already familiar with the school and give them the stipend and is certified.
I think,
I mean-
well, you also have to talk about, well, one of the things you need to look at is the HB 4545 and ESSER 3 grants.
yeah, it adds a lot more requirements on the campuses.
But documentation wise,
Mhm.
you're required to have pre-post diagnostic data, pre-post assessment data. You have to have the accelerated learning committees. You have to have the
You got
educational plans.
all of the scheduling
You
and
have
all
to
of
do
that.
those for every single
Child.
child who failed or did not
Not
take
test.
STAR.
And the
Third to
first
12th
first
grade.
year especially, there's a lot of
It could be a
students that
lot
didn't
of
take it.
Documentation.
Documentation.
From the SIFs, from doing the teaching, leading, guide, and,
It is going to be,
So
it's
more
going to be a
paperwork.
full-time, they're going to have to work full-time to support the program, basically.
Okay.
Yeah,
No,
because I
I-
think during the presentation with Mr. Aguilar, or when we're talking, he's not here, right? When we were doing the ESSER breakdown was that that was the initial plan, I think, that you had, right? You guys were talking about that, but then the guidelines, because every federal dollar comes with a lot of documentation. And I think districts got they saw millions and they thought, okay, let me make all these plans. And then the feds came in and said, okay, now here are the assurances, here are the guidelines, here are the requirements. And here is the massive load of documentation that you're gonna need to provide. And so that was seen, I think, by the administration as an overload on campus admin.
And to be fair, that what,
Right.
Mr. Staito, what you're talking about there, I was a facilitator doing that before, and I was kind of the devil's advocate where what the point you're bringing up at the time. And so that, that now do we really need another person? But after we outline all of the things they're going to have to do, I think that will assist the campuses and allow the facilitators to focus on all the other things they've got to do to manage the curriculum, because we're still going to have getting between that transition from virtual to face-to-face. There's still going to be plenty of issues that facilitators are going to have to work there as well. And that doesn't even mention, facilitators kind of pulling in that hip pocket, helping out with discipline issues, because with kids coming back after having a year off, there's going to be a lot of getting back into the business of school for students. So they're going to have their hands full working with kids and making things function day to day. And so this is just an extra person at those campuses to help manage that and help manage a lot of the admin stuff to take that load off of them.
No, I'm in agreement for the position, but what I don't agree with are the qualifications or that we're asking here for. We have fully certified people
Mhm.
with bachelor's and valid Texas teacher certificates at 187s, and then we have this position here at 226. So how do we have non-certified teachers providing leadership or providing guidance or providing instruction to
Mhm.
people with teacher certificates? That's what I have a problem with.
I understand, sir. Yes, sir. And what it is like their position is not purely instructional. It's the admin support, the documentation, the planning, the working with the teachers. That's their role. You raise a valid concern if we want to, there's other ways to do this. This is just, when we met and discussed this, this is kind of what the committee came up with, is that we think this will be the best way. But
I think some of those points need to be brought up, because when I don't think you send a strong message here,
Mhm.
when obviously you have, you compare them to a SIF or whatever, but a SIF is has a master's, has
experience.
Experience, if anything, yeah.
most of them are teacher certified, or because they gotta be in a classroom for 2 or 3 years. But here we're putting people in leadership roles that don't provide that, and we're paying them.
Well,
We have people with masters that are gonna make less than them,
Yeah.
just because they're in different programs.
and we're really putting them into the same role they had for the previous 5 years under the previous grant. And what we've done is they have that same role, but we've just added some additional duties to meet the requirements of House bill and the tutoring requirements.
And
I mean,
the-
if y'all-
and all these positions are only for,
2 years.
Yeah.
Well, that's a
3 years,
that's a
3
3-year
years.
position. Yeah, there's some different ones are 1 year, some are 2, and some are 3.
And then, I mean, then we can go on to the next one, but like your secretary, following they're at a 305 level. Obviously, I don't have the compensation plan in front of me, but where does that put them compared to some other ladies that have been here for, or not ladies, but other secretaries that have been here for 20 years?
That's page 28.
Yeah, it's on here.
305.
Yeah, there's 2 secretaries. You're talking about the innovative secretary or just the secretary for the ESSER?
I'm just talking about the
Innovative learning
it puts
support.
about 305, 305.
Yeah, it's right here.
Another question I have, Mr. Garlick, the advanced academics coach, isn't that kind of like what Miss Samantha?
That's the support. I don't remember. I think it was 2 board meetings back. There was a discussion about GT getting some extra support there. That's what that person is to help her with getting that assistance out to the not just the GT teachers, but also the teachers who are working the advanced placement and stuff like that.
Okay, and do we have the numbers of with the kids that we have being serviced with the Quest program to need this many people right now? Or what?
There's only one person on that one.
There's only one person?
There's only one.
Advanced academics coach?
Yeah, it's one advanced
Oh, okay.
academics coach for 2 years.
Okay, I thought it was more.
No, it's just
We see
one,
it.
and they're going to spread, kind of work across the district.
Okay,
Yeah, there's one advanced academic coach. The one that has more is the 10 innovative learning support specialists. That's the one that has 10. And then there's the director, and then there's the secretary for that program. There's the 19 assistant custodians, the 20 medical assistants.
the one that I think what got me was the 29 positions, but it's the accelerated learning aids.
Those are basically instructional aids to give us more capacity on campus to do more catch up or acceleration for students as we bring them back. Originally, to be honest, the CNI department, they wanted like 3 times that number.
Mhm.
And then we had some concerns that even getting 29 in the environment right now for hiring is going to be hard. And so they had 34, and we decided to take and reclassify 5 of them from migrant because they're going to need some help with the migrant side. And then the other 29, they came up with a breakdown today, and it's going to our schools in most need of assistance. It's 1 high school, 2 middle schools, and 4 of the elementaries.
Have we thought about, and I know a lot of my pre-K friends have reached out to me about having some extra help in the pre-K classrooms, the little ones and the masks and everything. What are we doing for them?
Originally, that was what CNI was proposing. They would work with the elementaries about getting more aids in like all the kindergarten, the lower
Pre-K.
early childhood classrooms. But that was pre-House bill coming out saying we have all these extra tutoring requirements that now we have to figure out how we're going to get, the tutoring requirements that kids need every day. And so then it shifted to, we're going to have to use these aids to help pump that up.
I
So-
think presentation on HB 4545, that's huge, would be, called for, because like in HB 4545, every student that failed a STAR exam or did not take one, which is a massive
failure.
number, has to receive 30 hours of instruction of intense tutoring, 30 hours per category. So let's say a 5th grader didn't come to school, didn't get tested. You have to do an accelerated learning committee, do an educational plan per student signed by the principal, the teacher, and also the parent.
For all
And
3
then-
subjects.
And then you got to give them 30 hours for reading, math, and science. Let's say that 5th grader. So you're going to have to give him 90 hours of tutoring.
And
And
document
then,
it.
and you can't take away from the core content instruction, enrichment, or athletics. So it's either before or after school Saturdays. So it's almost like a forced ACE program structure on school districts.
And the other thing is that it's very structured as far as you can't, the maximum is 3 students in that, in the session. So you can't get, an after school, I got 15 students in it. That's too many kids.
And
It's-
the only way is through a waiver, if anything.
Yeah. So it's
I
it's
see
going
the
to take a lot more
academics. I
Yeah,
see.
core.
person hours to meet those requirements.
I see that definitely, that we need that academic support, but I'm
I mean,
thinking
we
as
could
we-
actually use more, but, then we're going to take money from here to get more of them. And then there's no guarantee we're going to be able to find them to hire them.
Yeah.
Because, there's, I know when we were having the discussions, like the 19 custodians that came up, and we had 10 custodial openings, and they barely had 10 candidates to interview. It's just getting the
Wow.
people and getting, even now, we're still going to have trouble getting enough bodies in with just these openings. So if we decide to expand it later, take some money from somewhere, we could. But I
Yeah.
really think it's still going to be a stretch just to get these people on the ground.
Right, definitely. I'm just speaking, being the voice for those pre-K kinder teachers that are going to need
Oh,
a lot of help with a full classroom of,
I suspect that the cries for help are going to go from pre-K through 12
oh,
because,
yeah.
kids have been out for a year and a half and they're getting that structure back in place. It's going to be the same thing that pre-K and K do. Now everybody's going to have to do to get the kids back onto used to being in school.
Yeah.
I have a
Just
question,
help
sir.
by-
Yes, I doesn't make
I have a question for clarification. So those innovative learning specialists, they're going to be taking care of all of our campuses, the documentation
Right.
data. Okay.
The campus ones are going to be based at the elementaries, but I was meeting with Ms. Reyes yesterday, and she's going to work on every year that each campus has to come up with their program for tutoring.
That's right.
So she's going to be working to get those done, kind of standardize them to meet all the needs. And that it does include middle schools also, and then also assisting high schools.
That's what the EOC. Okay.
So, and then kind of working together with the strategists from CNI, because they're also a big piece of that puzzle also. We're going where we've not gone before, so
Yes,
there may be some needs to change stuff as we go. Any other questions?
No, sir.
No further questions? Okay, take it to vote.
So once there's no. That's my concern, is just a compensation on some of these, so let's just go.
Can we still revisit it and revise as needed?
Okay, again. Are we through? Move forward. Okay, take it to a vote. Signify your approval by saying aye or no if you don't approve. Mr. Staita?
Aye.
Mr. Trevino?
Aye.
Dr. Rodriguez?
Aye.
And Mr. Los Santos?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Item 12. Discussion and possible action for the board to approve the revisions to the Westico ISD fiscal year 2020-2021 compensation plan to reflect the addition of teacher incentive allotment, TIA, stipends for teachers who have earned a designation through their national board certification status and which will be funded by the Texas Education Agency, TEA. Dr. Canales.
Board Trustees, we do have a teacher at Weslaco East High School that generated funds through their national board certification status. The amount generated a recognized teacher designation of $6,394. The stipend amount for the teacher will be $5,755. So we're proud that we have a national board certification status that does generate funds that we're able to get and provide a stipend for the teacher. So we're asking that you approve the revisions to the current Weslaco ISD compensation plan to reflect the addition of the teacher incentive allotment stipends for the teacher who has earned a designation through the national board certification status, which will be funded by TEA.
Move to approve.
Second, have a motion by Dr. Rodriguez and a second by Mr. Los Santos.
Yes, sir.
To approve the revisions to the Westico ISD fiscal years 2020-2021 compensation plan to reflect the addition of teacher incentive allotment, TIA, stipends for teachers who have earned a designation through their national board certification status, and which will be funded by the Texas Education Agency, TEA. Any discussion?
Is it just one teacher, or how does this apply to all teachers? How does this work? I'm a little confused.
For this part it's for a teacher who has a national board certification status. They're offered to teachers across the nation. We have one teacher on his own, went ahead and secured the certification, which is nationally recognized. And
Okay.
because he has, if we had 20 teachers, TA would fund us for 20 teachers to be able to give a stipend. But
Okay.
We have one, we're proud of that.
So teachers, in case that they're listening later on, they would have to apply for this national program?
Through the TIA. Yeah, because right now under
National
House,
board
Okay.
certification, right.
because under House Bill 4545, right now, they identify accelerated learning as two options. One, you have, like, say for those students that failed STAR or did not take the STAR test, they can either, one, be serviced by a teacher that's recognized through TIA, through the allotment, or two, if you don't have teachers that are servicing them that are registered or identified, distinguished on their certificate, then they have to get 30 hours of tutoring per content area. So that's why now districts are kind of looking at both options. Do I want to have teachers that are certified or distinguished or identified distinguished through TIA, or do I want to tutor kids? And that's something that they're thinking about for the future. So
And it's just teachers who teach star level? It's not the lower?
no, they'll get they can, it's a national certification and they'll get distinguished and they get it on their certificate. I
Okay,
think there's 3 levels, isn't there, ma'am?
I don't know
There
that.
is, but for this teacher, it's a national board certification.
National
with
board
the teacher
certification.
under it, right? And that's a rigorous program in itself.
Right.
So it's a national
Okay.
certification.
Yeah.
in January.
I didn't know about that.
Okay. Well, let's take it to a vote. Signify your approval by saying aye when I call your name. Mrs. Esteta?
Aye.
Jose Trevino?
Aye.
Dr. Rodriguez?
Aye.
And Mr. Los Santos?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Item 13, adjournment.
So move.
The time now is 11:28 and we are adjourned.
Bye now.